Constant oil spills combined with the blooming harmful algae have turned Venezuela's Lake Maracaibo into a green toxic pool.
This perilous route through the Bolivian Andes is marked by narrow lanes, sharp turns, and deadly cliffs, earning it the name Death Road.
In some parts of the world, getting around is simple. You catch a bus, hop in a car, or call a taxi. But in South America, the road isn't always a road. It can be a river, a rope stretched between cliffs, and sometimes there's no road at all. This isn't a movie, it is real, and it's happening right now. So how do people keep moving? And how do entire communities rely on methods that seem too insane to be real? Let's step into the wild side of South America, where getting from point A to point B is anything but normal. Colombia's zip lines. High above the grounds in Los Pinos, a small boy waits. He's barefoot, holding tight to his school bag. The river below is fast and loud, crashing against sharp rocks. There's no bridge, no road, no boat, but there is a zip line.
It's a journey to school like no other. 4 years ago, Learning World traveled to the remote hamlet of Los Pinos in Colombia.
It stretches from one side of the canyon to the other, sagging just slightly in the middle. Man steps forward and helps the boy onto the zip line. He checks the cable, then gives a strong push. The cable shoots forward over the river. It shakes. It squeaks. The boy clutches the sides, eyes wide, knuckles tight. Below, the river shows no mercy. In places like the village of Los Pinos, Colombia, this is not a ride for fun. It's how children get to school, how farmers bring vegetables to town, how families visit each other. Everyday life, hanging by a thread. Here is something more shocking. Every day, villagers clip a simple homemade rig to the wire, sit on a cloth saddle or even a wooden block, and launch themselves across the canyon at high speed. Some carry heavy bags of supplies, some carry chickens, and yes, even small kids use it to get to school. Children as young as 9 grip the line tightly, their legs dangling in the air, crossing nearly half a mile in under a minute. Their backpacks hang in front of them, sometimes balanced with extra food or books. It's fast, it's dangerous, but it's also the only way. Without this cable, families would have to walk hours through dense forest and steep cliffs. For them, the zip line is the quickest and weirdest shortcut in the world. There are no brakes. Riders use thick gloves to grab the wire and slow themselves down. Sometimes the wind pushes them too fast, sometimes the pulley jams. When that happens, they hang there, swinging above the canyon until someone can help. This is faster, and in their eyes, worth the risk. To them, it's just a part of life. The death road of Bolivia. Bolivia is home to one of the most dangerous roads in the world, famously known as the Death Road. This narrow, winding road snakes through the treacherous mountains of the Andes.
But after Bolivia opened an alternate route connecting the capital to the Amazon rainforest and drawing most of the heavy vehicle traffic, Death Road saw a return of native wildlife.
Hanging precariously over steep cliffs that drop hundreds of meters, the term Death Road isn't just a nickname, it's a harsh reality. Over 200 people used to lose their lives on this road every year. And despite this terrifying track record, it's still heavily trafficked, serving as a vital link between La Paz, the capital city, and the Amazon basin. The road is a narrow strip of dirt and gravel, often reduced to barely enough space for one vehicle. Yet it's shared by trucks, buses, and cyclists. It's not paved, and the conditions can change drastically from heavy fog to rainstorms and falling rocks. The weather and the steep, unprotected drops make it even more dangerous. At certain points, the road is so narrow that vehicles must reverse to let each other pass. It's terrifying enough when there's a minor slip of the wheels on the loose gravel, but the consequences could be catastrophic if the vehicle goes over the edge. Despite the risk, the road remains crucial for local commerce, particularly for transporting goods like vegetables, fruits, and construction materials from the highlands to the lowlands. In the past few years, the road has gained international attention, not only for its danger, but for its unusual tourism. People now come from all over the world to cycle down the death road. Tourists on bikes ride down the very same path that once took hundreds of lives each year. Today, the road is safer than it once was, but it still remains a dangerous testament to human resilience and the price of progress. Venezuela's unpredictable tides. On the Orinoco River in Venezuela, entire villages don't rest on solid ground. They float on water. Some communities exist on stilts, with homes and streets built above the water's surface.
To the Rio Orinoco here in Venezuela, the fourth largest river in the world and the most important one here in the country.
These floating villages are a sight to behold. Built by the Warao indigenous people, the villages are in constant danger of flooding, but the residents have adapted, building their homes on stilts and walking across wooden bridges to get from one house to another. The Warao people, who have lived in this area for centuries, rely on the river for nearly everything, like fishing, transportation, and even communication. Since they have no access to paved roads, the people of these floating communities use boats and canoes to get from place to place. Children are often seen paddling small wooden boats to school, while the adults use larger boats for transportation and trade. The Orinoco River, which spans more than 2,200 kilometers, can be unpredictable. During the rainy season, the river's water levels rise, and entire villages are sometimes submerged. However, the homes are designed to float, so they can rise with the water. The villagers have learned to adapt, but it's a life that requires constant vigilance. The fact that these floating villages exist at all and continue to thrive shows how people have found ways to survive and even thrive in the harshest of conditions. Life on the river offers a different perspective on transportation. Unlike cities where people can just hop in a car or take a bus, the Warao people live in a world where the river dictates how you move. They don't worry about traffic jams or potholes. Instead, they deal with unpredictable tides, shifting currents, and the constant need to maintain their floating homes. The motorcycle taxis of Ecuador. In Ecuador, the motorcycle is more than just a form of transportation. It's a lifeline. In urban areas like Quito, motorcycles are a common sight, darting through traffic like quicksilver. But what makes them even more fascinating is how they're used as taxis. These are called motorbike taxis, and they serve as the main mode of transport for many people, especially in areas that aren't easily accessible by buses or cars. Motorcycle taxis are an essential part of the transportation network in Ecuador. The roads can often be congested, and buses don't always reach more remote areas. That's where the motorbike taxis come in. They zip through tight spaces, weaving in and out of traffic, offering passengers a faster and more affordable ride than a traditional taxi. They can carry 1 or 2 passengers, and some even carry large goods like furniture or shopping bags strapped to the back. For the drivers, the mototaxi business is a way to make a living. They don't have to deal with the high costs of operating a full-size car, and they can work flexible hours. Motorcycle taxis are a solution to the daily transportation challenges in a crowded city, where traditional vehicles often struggle to navigate the narrow streets. But what's even more interesting is how versatile these motorcycles can be. In the mountains of Ecuador, it's not uncommon for a mototaxi to carry heavy loads up steep and bumpy roads. The ability of these small motorcycles to carry large amounts of goods and people is both practical and impressive, proving just how resourceful people can be in the face of tough conditions. The Tuk Tuks in Peru. In Peru, Tuk Tuks are an essential part of everyday life. These 3-wheeled vehicles have become the go-to transportation for both locals and tourists. What makes Tuk Tuks unique is their small size, making them perfect for navigating through the narrow streets of cities like Lima. Tuk Tuks are cheap, quick, and can maneuver through areas where larger vehicles can't go. For locals, they're a practical solution for short trips around the city. Whether it's a quick ride to the store, a trip to a friend's house, or a visit to the market, Tuk Tuks offer a fast, affordable way to get around. But their versatility doesn't end there. Tuk Tuks are also used to transport goods. Vendors use them to deliver food, drinks, and other products to different parts of the city. Farmers load their Tuk Tuks with fresh produce and bring it to market, while shopkeepers use them to restock their inventory. It's a system that allows people to keep their businesses running smoothly, even when larger vehicles are impractical. For tourists, Tuk Tuks provide a fun way to explore the city. The small, colorful vehicles are often decked out in unique designs, and taking a ride on one is an experience in itself. The best part? They're affordable, often costing just a few dollars for a ride, making them accessible to people from all walks of life. The cable cars in Colombia. In Colombia, where the terrain is often mountainous and hard to navigate, cable cars have become an important part of everyday life.
The cable car system united the city. Metro Cable's line to Santo Domingo carries some 18,000 passengers a day.
Cities like Medellin use cable cars not only as tourist attractions, but as legitimate forms of public transportation. The cable cars, known as Metro Cable, are an innovative way to connect people who live in the hilly suburbs with the main urban areas below. In the past, people living in the hills surrounding Medellin were often isolated due to the lack of efficient transportation. Buses had trouble navigating the steep roads, and walking long distances was time-consuming. But with the introduction of the Metro Cable, people can now take a quick cable car ride to get to work, school, or other essential locations. The Metro Cable system in Medellin is part of a larger integrated public transportation network. It connects to the city's metro system, allowing passengers to travel seamlessly from the hillside neighborhoods down to the city center. What makes this transportation method even more incredible is that it was built not just to serve tourists, but to address real social issues, providing easier access to jobs, education, and health services for people living in disadvantaged areas. Camelids in Argentina. Far up in the Andes Mountains, the roads disappear. What's left are narrow paths through rocky hills, places where no car or bus can go. And this is where something truly unique still happens. Llamas, not camels, and their cousins, the alpacas, are everywhere in places like northern Argentina. But they're not just there for tourists or pictures. For centuries, they've been the trucks and trains of the highlands. In small villages like Barrancas and Santa Catalina in Argentina, people still pack their goods on llamas and walk for days to local markets. Llamas don't need roads. They can climb steep mountains, walk on narrow cliffs, and carry up to 25% of their body weight on their backs without complaining. Some caravans have more than 20 or 30 llamas in a single file, each one calmly walking behind the other. The journeys are long, sometimes 3 days, sometimes even more. But for the families living in these remote areas, llama caravans are not just about moving stuff. They are about keeping old traditions alive. Llama trails still exist today, but they're slowly fading. Trucks now go where llamas once ruled. Young people are leaving the mountains for the cities. But in some areas, especially deep in the Andes, llama caravans are still part of life. You can even find drawings of them carved into rocks, made by people who lived there long before the modern world arrived. It's quiet up there in the mountains. No horns, no engines, just the soft crunch of llama feet on stone. The chicken bus in Central America. While many of the methods of transportation we've discussed so far might seem unique or even bizarre, none quite compare to the colorful, chaotic charm of the chicken bus. The chicken bus is an iconic form of transportation found across several countries in Central America, especially in Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. These buses, which were originally school buses imported from the United States, have been repurposed into vibrant, moving public transport systems that are used by locals every day. The term chicken bus comes from the fact that, in many rural areas, these buses often carry more than just passengers. They're loaded with goods, livestock, and yes, even chickens, sometimes literally. The buses, now painted in bright colors with intricate designs, often feature artwork that reflects the region's culture and identity. They're like moving pieces of art, full of life and vibrancy, and that's just part of what makes them so remarkable. Riding a chicken bus is an adventure in itself. The buses are often packed with people, sometimes spilling over into the aisles and hanging out of the windows. In a single trip, you might see someone carrying a large bag of corn, a few dozen chickens, and a basket of fruits, all while the bus rumbles along dirt roads at breakneck speeds. The drivers and conductors are known for their speed and daring driving, often racing between destinations while blaring local music over the speakers. The chicken bus serves as a lifeline for many rural communities. In places where roads are poor and other forms of transport are limited, the chicken bus can carry people and goods for miles, even through treacherous mountain paths. For locals, it's an everyday part of life. And for tourists, it offers a wild, authentic experience of Central America's culture. Despite their chaotic nature, chicken buses have become a symbol of the region's resilience and resourcefulness. They show how people take what's available, adapt it to their needs, and make it work, often with a touch of personality and flair. The Trains of Patagonia. In the southernmost reaches of Argentina lies a truly unique form of transportation, the old Patagonian trains. Running through the vast windswept plains of Patagonia, these historic trains offer an experience that feels like something out of a bygone era. The trains, which date back to the early 20th century, still operate in some parts of the region, taking passengers on scenic routes through the beautiful and remote landscapes of southern Argentina. Unlike modern high-speed trains, the trains of Patagonia move at a leisurely pace, allowing passengers to take in the stunning views of Patagonia's rugged terrain.
The old Patagonian Express of pull-through fame. How pumped are you?
Super pumped. And before we even board the train, we've had a chance to kind of see how it's been getting prepared for today's journey.
The route often cuts through the Patagonian steppe, where vast stretches of land seem to go on forever, broken only by the occasional mountain or glacial lake. Riding on these trains is like stepping back in time. The train cars are charmingly vintage, with wood paneling and classic features that transport passengers to a simpler, quieter era. The Patagonian trains are more than just tourist attractions. They're also used by locals for transportation between remote towns. In a region where the population is sparse and distances between towns can be vast, the trains serve as an essential means of getting from one place to another. Whether it's a family traveling to visit relatives or a farmer transporting goods to market, the train plays a vital role in the life of Patagonia's people. What makes the Patagonian trains even more fascinating is the way they've managed to survive in a world that's increasingly dominated by modern transport systems. In an age of high-speed rail and advanced technology, the Patagonian trains stand as a reminder of the past. They are a slow, scenic journey through one of the most remote and awe-inspiring regions on Earth, Barco de Totora of Peru. On the edge of South America, where Peru meets Bolivia, there's a lake so big that it looks like the sea. This is Lake Titicaca, the highest navigable lake in the world. It sits more than 12,000 feet above sea level, and it's cold, calm, and full of secrets. But what's really surprising is not the lake itself. It's what moves across it. Forget engines, forget steel boats. Here, some people still use boats made from plants. They're called barcos de totora. Totora is a special kind of reed that grows all around the lake. It's strong, light, and water-resistant. For hundreds of years, the indigenous Uros people have gathered these reeds by hand, dried them in the sun, and bundled them into thick, floating shapes. The result? A boat that looks like something from a storybook. Smooth, golden brown, and shaped like a giant banana or sometimes a dragon, complete with tall animal heads at the front. Building one takes time. Families often work together for weeks, tying the reeds carefully with ropes made from the same plant. They build layers, one on top of the other, until the boat is big enough to carry several people, along with goods like potatoes, firewood, or even livestock. Once it's ready, they set off. No motor, just a paddle and the wind. The Uros also live on floating islands made from the same reeds. So for them, a Tora boat is not just transport. It's part of their way of life. It's how they visit neighbors, go fishing, trade in the market, and even travel to school. Sometimes the boats only last a few months before they start to soften and sink, but instead of getting upset, they just build another one. That's how it's always been. They've been doing this long before cars, trains, or even horses came to this part of the world. To ride one of these boats is to feel time slow down. The water is silent, the air is thin, and under you is a boat made from nothing but plants. Now we want to hear from you. Which of these crazy transportation methods would you want to try? Or maybe you've experienced one we didn't mention? Let us know in the comments section. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. Remember to like, share it, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.